Hi, I'm James Hamilton from Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, and today I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is to sharpen your Forstner bits. In the November issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, we showed you how to sharpen your own router bits with a simple diamond hone. You'll find that issue at the link in the notes below this video, as well as a link to the diamond sharpening kit that I used for the video. I recommend this particular kit because not only is it high quality, but it comes with a double-sided diamond card and a diamond file with one flat side and one round side. Together, these two hones can be used to sharpen all sorts of things, as we'll be showing you over the next couple of months in a series of videos. This time, we're going to look at Forstner bits. We'll cover 3 different styles of bits using a couple of different techniques that you can then apply to any other type of Forstner bit that you may not see in this video. We'll start with the common stagger tooth bit. These teeth make up what's called the guide rim. If they aren't kept sharp, your bit will build up heat faster and dull. For these, I'm going to use this diamond taper file. It's 600 grit, which is ideal for our purposes. On one side, it's flat. The other side is convex. We're going to put a little bit of the lapping fluid on the flat side. And now I'm going to take the file and place it against the flat of each tooth. I give it 5 back and forth strokes. I'm only applying a little bit of pressure, not much at all. I don't want to remove too much material, just enough to refresh the point of each tooth. And I'm counting out the same number of back and forth strokes. When you combine that light pressure with the same 5 back and forth strokes per tooth, you're ensuring that you aren't removing more material on one than you are on another. If you did, say, 10 or 12 strokes, any little variations in the amount of pressure will start to build up and your teeth could become uneven. You don't want that. You also don't want to sharpen the sloping top surface of the teeth because you want all of them to stay on the same plane so they all contact the wood and work together as the bit cuts. So 5 back and forth strokes per tooth, very light pressure, and only on the inside surface. Now, we move on to the cutters. These are just flat surfaces. So to refresh them, you place the flat of the diamond file against the cutter and stroke at an angle so you cover the entire cutter with one stroke of the narrower file. I'm going to do this back and forth again, applying only light pressure 5 times. Then I switch to the other cutter and I repeat the same 5 back and forth strokes. That's it. Your Forstner bit's sharp. This process will work for all sorts of Forstner bits. But what about bits that don't have any teeth, but instead they have a continuous guide rim, or in this case, a wavy rim? For these, I'm going to use the rounded side of my diamond file. I lay it in one of these concave ripples and tilt it back just a bit so I know that I'm going to be filing on that sharp edge. Then I begin to work it back and forth very lightly all the way around the rim. I can't really count the strokes in the same way as I did before. Instead, I just keep the file moving, applying consistent pressure. Then I switch to the other side of the rim and I repeat the process. For the flat cutters, it's the same technique that I showed you before. Now let's look at one more type of bit. These are called self-feeding bits. They're very similar to the other bits I showed you, except they're more commonly used by electricians or plumbers or in production settings when you want a really aggressive cut. Now, you can sharpen these using the same techniques I just showed you, but a lot of production shops prefer what is called a coarse sharp edge on these bits. What that means is they don't want them honed to a fine 600 grit because the edge will actually last longer in their situation if it's sharpened to 300 grit. Think of it like a bench chisel as compared to a turning gouge. Turning gouges take a beating and are rarely honed as finely as bench chisels. So for really aggressive cutting, particularly in end grain or in production settings with very hard woods, a coarse sharp edge is preferable for extended durability. To achieve this, I'm going to use that credit card size stone that came in the same kit that I showed you. One side is 300 grit, which is what I use between the teeth and underneath those flat cutters. I'm using the same techniques as before, except with a coarser grit for that coarse sharp edge. Now some of these self-feed bits do have a sharpened edge on the tops of the teeth. For those, you would have to use the rounded side of the file, which won't give you a coarse, sharp edge because it's 600 grit, not 300, but that's not a big deal because the main cutters will be coarse sharp. Really, it shows why I like the sharpening kit because all the tools you need for all sorts of sharpening situations come with it. So let's review our key points. For most Forstner bits used in regular woodworking applications, you use the 600 grit diamond file. You only work the flats of the teeth on the stagger tooth bits or the inside of the wavy rim bits. You also work the flat surface beneath the inner cutters. Apply only light pressure and count your strokes to make sure you remove the steel evenly. If you're in a production setting or in a situation where you want a very aggressive cut with an edge that will take that sort of beating, use the 300 grit side of the card for a coarse, sharp edge. Incidentally, for any of these techniques to be truly effective, you have to keep your bits maintained. If you let them get overly dull, 5 back and forth strokes may not be enough to refresh the edges. And like I said, if you have to remove a lot of material, you're more likely to get an unevenly sharpened bit that won't perform well at all. I should also mention that it's just as important to keep your bits clean between sharpenings. Dirty bits heat up faster and dull quicker. If you saw that router bit tutorial we did, I used a bit and blade cleaner, which works very well, and it's a lot less expensive per ounce than many of the other cleaners. Plus, this one's not a harsh chemical, which I really like. I'll link to it in the notes below the video as well. The point is, take care of your bits, and they'll take care of you. Don't forget to check out that router bit sharpening tutorial. It's in the November 2016 issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, which you can find in our archives. This Forstner bit tutorial will be in the December 2016 issue, and there'll be more sharpening tutorials in issues to come. So head over to stumpynubs.com where you can read and subscribe for free. Happy Forstnering!